Well, hey guys, and welcome back to Tactical Review. Welcome to another live stream. As you can see, it's just me. I think Elias is planning on joining us in the chat here this evening. So I'm not sure. I'm hoping so. We're gonna give we've got folks still joining, and I do see a few guys here already in the chat. A couple of you guys, looks like you were here nearly after I set up the pre-scheduled the live stream. Mark 18 Mod 0, Zeke's in the chat. I see Mateo and 2AEDU. What? Yep, it's gonna be one of those days. Beretta Man's here. Awesome. Welcome. And yeah, well, hopefully I'm going to keep an eye. You guys see me glancing over to my right. I've got a second monitor over there. Make sure if you want to grab my attention at Tactical Review. If you're watching on mobile, it's a pain in the butt, and I'm sorry, you've just got to type out my username. If you're on PC or Mac or whatever, if you're on a desktop computer or a laptop, or there's just no set definition. Anyway, you get tab completion, and it makes life a lot easier. YouTube people who are watching, to make sure I don't touch any of those scary guns, pass up the food chain. That we want a way for username completion on mobile. I watch a lot of live streams and a lot of premieres on my iPad, and it's frankly a pain in the butt, even with a full keyboard. Like, I've got one of those Belkin keyboard cases. Anyway, seeing if anybody else has joined us yet. Not yet, but we're going to get underway. I'm not going to even pretend like we're going to put a time on this tonight, because that has not yet one time worked. But I'd like to start out with asking a favor from you guys. Personal friend of mine, like an IRL friend, if you will. He's been a longtime channel supporter, reached out to me early on in the channel's life. I don't remember exactly when, and he sends me the message on Facebook. He goes, so what do I get for being a Patreon supporter? And guys, I'm still trying to figure out what you get for being a Patreon supporter. I try to give my Patreon supporters early access to videos, and usually I can give you guys 24 hours. I'm not that organized. I've got so much going on, like so many of you, that it just doesn't happen. But anyway, my buddy Josh, he, like I said, longtime Patreon supporter, he reached out to me last Saturday, and he said, "Hey man, I just want to give you the heads up. I've got to drop my Patreon support. I lost my job." And the Patreon support, man, that Josh, if you're watching, I appreciate the heads up, but guys, I appreciate your thoughts and prayers for my buddy Josh, that he can get something lined up. He's a heck of a smart guy, and I know that there's good things in the work for you, Josh, but I know it's a struggle being between jobs. I know it's a struggle being between jobs. Sometime if you guys want to reach out to me off the chat and ask me about 2012 for me, and you want to talk mental health, we can do that. But anyhow, thanks guys. I see Ninja Scout has joined us. Let's see, going down through here. Good thing you got that Anderson. Seems like they're selling out a lot of places. Anderson, here's the thing. Okay, I've got 2 Anderson lowers. After the stream, if you want to jump over to my gun streamer, you can actually see my assembly video. My second one, the one that's on that AR-15 right there, the one that we're going to beat up and just put a lot of steel-cased ammo through without cleaning it, that poor girl, that went together like a dream, and the pins all work great. On my 300 Blackout gun, you guys have seen it on Instagram. It's the one I painted on the channel almost a year ago now. That one, the rear pin, I have to push out with a bullet, and then I have to really squeeze together with it, and then I can get it in with thumb pressure. I don't ever have to beat on it, and I don't know if that's an out of spec upper or an out of spec lower. I haven't swapped it around to figure it out. So I've been pleased with Anderson stuff. So, and it's always a good idea to have some extra lowers on hand, regardless. Zeke talking about autocorrect. Yeah, autocorrect can be terrible, especially on mobile. When you're trying to @ somebody and you don't get username completion. YouTube, okay? All your other asinine stuff, whatever, tab completion on mobile. Make it happen. Going through without. Beretta Man, oh, talking about the build that you got going, right? With gonna do it in 6.5 Grendel. That's awesome. Hi, Robert Hawley. Just saw you there in the chat. Welcome. AR-15 front takedown pin. You almost have to beat it in with a hammer. Can't figure out why. Yeah. And that, Robert, is that with or without an upper on it? Is that even? Yeah, even with it, just the takedown pin. Kind of watching there. If it's stiff, even without the takedown pin, excuse me. You might, you're going to risk losing a detent here. If you can get either work it back and forth a bunch or take it out and clip like one round at a time off of your detent spring. Sometimes you have a lot of pressure in there, and those detents can be a little sharp when they're new, and they get into the notch, the little hole or divot in the takedown pin, and they can make it really stiff to function. So anyhow, my experience, I'm relatively new. I've always been a gun enthusiast. Like when I remember being like single digit years old, and just looking, my dad had one of those nice like glass door gun cabinets, and I'd sit there and just stare at all of the different guns. I've always been enthusiastic about it. But I only within the last year got my first assault weapon. Not the first time I've shot one, but so I'm still learning as I go, but I geek out on things. So, and yeah, checking that takedown detent is the first place I would start. Again, gonna plug my build video on my gun streamer channel, and if you, I've got a video titled for that here, and then I have a bit.ly link like on screen. It's not even in the description. You got to watch. It's like a 1-minute video, just because I didn't want YouTube to take it down. So that shows you a quick trick for safely removing and installing that takedown, if you don't know it already, and it just involves a 1/4-inch clevis pin. So all right, good luck with Anderson. Yeah, didn't try it without. Okay, going to have a marriage ceremony this weekend. Want to join the two together? Yeah. Zeke the Great. Okay, we'll let it slide. Let it slide. Anderson and PSA fit like a glove on Ninja's pistol, and it runs like a champ. Yeah, I've not had any issues with my PSA Anderson builds running. Like I said, it's just that one. It's that rear takedown pin. Front pivot pin's fine. So, and I just keep hearing Palmetto State and Anderson. It's not that they're bad products. It's that their QA is sometimes a little lacking. Sorry about that. Somebody's grabbing the dog leash off the other side of my office door. So anyway, I am a self-confirmed poor, so I will continue using Palmetto State and Anderson, and who knows, maybe one day some Bear Creek Arsenal or something. And if my adventures in the poors accessories and firearms can help you guys out, that's why I started Tactical Review. All right. Okay, it looks like right now I'm caught up on the chat, and 9 folks in here. Welcome everybody. If I didn't shout you out, I didn't see you, hit me with an @ tag. And upper present, without an upper it goes back and forth. Okay, oh, sorry. Only a pain when there's an upper. So if you get a chance to try somebody else's upper, That'll kind of let you know if your upper's just a little bit out of spec. If theirs is stiff too, your pivot point is just a smidge out of spec. Excuse me, I'm sorry guys, I'm still fighting this head cold. On a guess. So, truth is I don't know, unless you're switching uppers a lot, I don't pop that takedown pin very frequently. Good grief. Water. Okay, before we get very deep into this, I do need to thank today's sponsor, you guys. You're here, you're watching me. I appreciate your patronage. I am not big enough to have any sponsors. So, Beretta Man going to the computer. Yeah. Zeke, Poors prefer the term peasants. Okay. I'm okay with peasants, but it's starting to get close to vassals, which are subjects, which, hey, that's why we're having a constitutional considerations. Because it's Wednesday. It's the day that we come together to gripe about political stupidity. But I'm not digging quite there yet. First, I want to talk to you guys about some deals. I know SHOT Show is just a week away, or maybe is starting now. I don't know. I don't go to big things like that. I have to go to work. My hobbies are expensive. Anyway, I have been seeing crazy deals on the Holosun 507C. Yes, I know it's backwards for you guys. I have my camera mirrored because my brain hurts if I do this and it moves on the other side. I'm sorry. Holosun 507C, you guys can go back and watch my Glock 19 videos about that. Regular price on these was like $350. I felt very happy to grab this guy for about $250 just a few months back. And right now, Palmetto State, well, I say right now, okay, they may be out of stock. I didn't check this afternoon. I did look this morning. But Palmetto State Armory is running these for $229 for the regular red version. The 507C-GR, which is the green reticle version, I don't know, I like red, but I know a lot of people like green dots. That's on sale for $249. However, on the red version, I did see on the daily deal yesterday, and it was still on today, they have a promo code OPTIC. I think it's right on, if you go to Palmetto State, search for 507C, it's right on the page, that it takes it down to $209.99 with free shipping plus your state sales tax. So that is a screaming deal for a really solid pistol optic, and it comes with a pick rail attachment, so if you wanted to run it on a rifle you could. I think that's more for pistols that have pick rail on top. The Holosun uses the RMR footprint, in case you're curious. And yeah, they are also on sale over at Brownells for $229, and then Brownells has free shipping over $49.99, and they frequently have different ridiculous promo codes. So sadly, the Honey browser extension, which is also not sponsoring my channel, I use it though, it no longer works on Brownells. So I was very sad when I went to click the little Honey button and it was grayed out. So okay, screaming deals on Holosuns, and I mentioned SHOT Show because I think that they're closing some of these out because they have a new generation coming out. That's just an educated guess. So catch back up on chat here real quick. Pours how we roll. It's why Ninja, why you have a channel. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I wish that I could grab my M&P 15. I don't even see the box. I was looking for the box back there. One of my early videos was on that Vism handguard. And really, that was what led me to starting to want to do a channel. I bought my M&P 15 right around tax time last year, and I wanted M-LOK. At the time I didn't know I wanted M-LOK. I wanted rail space of some sort forward of the receiver, and I had the standard M&P Sport 15 Sport 2 with the more traditional front handguard. And so I got looking, and I was looking at quad rails and blah blah blah, and looking at budget items. Okay, I couldn't afford a $200 and some odd Knights Armament quad rail, and I mentioned this early on, but a lot of those reviews are nefarious at best. Like, they read like somebody paid me to say this, and so I wasn't sure what to trust. And on some, nobody can review everything, and I get that, and so that's where I try to fill in. So definitely, if you guys see something that you would like reviewed, you can hit me up, and I will do what I can. I can't promise, I can't promise anything, honestly. But anyway, going back down through to a 20. Get back to Beretta Man watching 2A EDU's newest video. Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure if I've had it. I don't think I have had a chance to watch your video. I've been stupidly busy. So I've mentioned I work at a school and I supervise afternoon weights, and so I don't get out of there until 5:30 or 6 p.m. And then with it being Wednesday, I'm one of our youth group leaders at the church. So yeah, I went to youth group, rushed back here, and I still had things to finish up for our live stream tonight. So, okay, all caught up. 15 minutes in, and all I've said is, deals on holosynoptics. So, okay, I've got a little, excuse me. I actually have a little bit of an outline tonight. So, if you look at the title, I got a response about Indiana Senate Bill 203. We talked about that last week, and once again, it's not something that I can foresee passing right now in Indiana, but we've always got to be vigilant. There's the expression, freedom isn't free. That this government, this method of self-governance is ours if we can keep it. So yeah, anyhow, we saw this bill, we talked about this, an assault weapons ban and multiple trigger depression, something, binary switches and stuff. Anyway, so I emailed my district senator, which is Mrs. Stacy Donato, and I honestly did not anticipate getting anything back from that. Send it out in the void. And yes, I know the emailing is not usually the best. It's not usually the best method of conversation, but sometimes expedience is important. And so when I saw notifications on Facebook and another YouTuber, Guns and Glory, I don't remember, and I feel terrible, but I watched his video about Senate Bill 203, and so then I immediately went and emailed my district senator. So anyway, didn't expect anything else out of it. I got that auto reply that we're very busy, we get a lot of communication, I may not get back to you, rest assured it's all looked at, whatever. Anyway, Stacy got back with me, said, "Dear Blair, thank you for taking the time to write me regarding Senate Bill 203. I share your concerns about this bill, and I've always been a strong supporter of the Second Amendment. This bill has not been assigned to a committee. That's a good thing. So right now it's been introduced. It's been, I think this would be a good idea. Well, lots of people think lots of things are a good idea. That doesn't mean they are. But anyway, this bill has not been assigned to a committee, and I've not heard of any support for the bill from my fellow Republican legislators. And right now, we are completely red. So that's if none of the Republicans are supporting it, it doesn't matter. It's not going anywhere. However, if the bill moves forward, I plan to vote against it. If you have any further questions or concerns, please do not hesitate to let me know. So really awesome, and you know, kind of a shout out that you know, yeah, our representatives, especially at the local level, and I think we've all talked about that a little bit. I think the further up the food chain, if you will, that they get, maybe a little more disconnected they are. So I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I'm not a public servant. So anyway, yeah, 2A, keep watching the bill anyway. Absolutely. And that's the thing. We cannot ever let our guard down. And that's actually, now's a good way to segue into, you know, staying abreast of this. We're going to talk a little bit more about Virginia here in a little while, because that's a mess. And the thing is that, you know, I don't know if it's typical nationwide. I don't know if it's only during local elections. But last November, my county, and then the county immediately south, because I'm nearly on the county line, we had 20 to 25% voter turnout. And, you know, so 75% of the people just didn't care enough, or were too busy, and that's registered voters, by the way. That's not everybody over 18, but we're counting people who, for whatever reason, have lost the right to vote or never registered. And guys, I'm ashamed to admit this, but I lost track of what day it was, and because I'm at the school so late, and it was a super busy day, so I didn't even have a chance to check social media. And I got home and I was going through Insta and was seeing everybody's story with the I voted stickers, and then I was like, oh crap, and the polls were closed. Don't be me. I'm really embarrassed about that too, because that's, I think, the first election I've missed in nearly 20 it was 19 elections that I've been allowed to vote in, and it's the first one that I've missed getting to the polls, and it's embarrassing, especially for me to be sitting here and having gotten so much more involved, and then to not, it was lacking. And it's, you know, so I'm pointing the finger at myself. Yeah, okay. Hope if people were interested in getting in front of this before these loonies get in the state house, then again, most of the voting public only responds to an R or a D. You know, Zeke, that's a good point. And here's the thing, in Indiana, I don't know how it is everywhere, but in Indiana, you're only allowed to vote in the primaries if you're registered as an R or a D. So, but you know, we keep shouting we need term limits, and I agree with that. Especially federal congressional term limits. But if we would get in there and we would vote them away in the primaries, we're forcing term limits. But the problem is we keep going and voting for incumbents. And, you know, but the thing is that if your incumbent is somebody who's been asleep at the wheel, but the other name on the ballot is somebody who's like Michael Bloomberg, you're not going to vote for somebody like that in preference to the incumbent just to vote the incumbent out. So we definitely all need to be active during our primaries. And in Indiana, I don't have a bill number on this. I did see a thing where there's a bill where they're talking about not allowing the populace to vote on the state representatives anymore, like senators and representatives for federal. They'll be assigned by the state like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, they'll be voted on in state Congress and then assigned. So, excuse me, guys. Sorry, I'm still fighting this little bit of a head cold. All I've got left is this cough, but it's nagging and it's going to blow your speakers out, and I'm sorry. So anyway, yeah, I should have had a bill number for that for you guys to get ahead of that too, because we're a government for the people, of the people, and by the people. So that doesn't mean that we pick people and then, although we've got the Electoral College. Okay, this is getting muddy. Anyway, back into the chat real quick. Call and email your local government and Trump and let them know that we won't comply to a tyrannical government. That's absolutely right, Ninja Scout. And I've got that form letter for the ATF reclassification that, you know, it happened about a month ago now. Bunch of tyranny, and the ATF is a dog that needs back on the chain, or Congress maybe put down. The ATF is a wholly unconstitutional branch of law enforcement, and now that they are overstepping their bounds and dictating legislation unilaterally, it needs to go away. Hashtag repeal the NFA. Mateo votes first thing in the morning, and that is a great plan. It's a good way to do it, and your work has to let you go vote. So it was entirely on me that I lost track of time last November, because there would have been no problem whatsoever for me to, you know, my supervisor or my buddy, just say, hey, I'm gonna run uptown, I'm gonna go vote real quick and come back to school. It wouldn't have been a problem. That's on me. M4 Johnny, hey, welcome. JJ Brown, Trident, Virginia. Yeah, JJ, I'm guessing that you're slogging through it over there in Virginia. We're gonna talk a lot about what's going on over there. So we're gonna come back to that. And you know what? Absolutely, talk about what's going on in the chat. Because I'm going off of things that I've read and things that I'm trying to understand, and frankly, I'm not the smartest guy. So, you know, doing what I can. I'm definitely just trying to bring attention, because that's the kind of situation that occurs when I don't know. I can't say what your voter turnout was. I don't know. But it's definitely shaping up to be a nightmare scenario. Your county accepted the West Virginia bill and become a West Virginian. We're going to talk about that, Ninja. Yes, Zeke, he makes a really good point. Call your representatives. Send them actual, send them mail. Which is why I did a form letter. You guys can copy and paste and email that, but send them mail. It's gone through the post. I think my understanding, which again we just talked about that, could be wrong, but my understanding is that carries a different legal weight once it's been mailed. I don't know. I could have been completely misled, but there is something about receiving an actual letter that makes it different, especially in this day and age. Find Donald Trump's silence in regards to Virginia very troubling. As a matter of fact, the silence from D.C. is deafening. Robert Hawley, absolutely correct. Especially given the fact that the eight-year assault on our Second Amendment rights is over. I think they're watching and waiting. That could be. Hey, Vanessa, wait. Oh, Vanessa Kitty, I missed you. Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining. Virginia fighting that move for counties to join. West Virginia just seen it. Oh, I'm sure they're fighting that. Zeke, hello. Hey, brownies for my fat. You know, thanks for saying something. You always say thank you at the end of the premieres, brownies, and you just don't say anything during the video, and I didn't even realize you were there. So welcome. Thanks for saying something. And poor but proud, yeah. Because you know what? I figured out that financials, I don't ever want to be struggling so much that I don't know. There's a lot of stress to that. But money ain't everything, and the sooner that a person realizes that, I think the happier they are, the more joyful they are. Money can't buy happiness. It can buy guns though, and that's kind of close. Maybe. Nobody? Anybody else laughing? No, just me. Okay. Well, we kind of started talking about Virginia. Let's go ahead and head that direction. So, if you guys don't know, I'm sure you guys know. Surely you know, it's been all over social media. There's a little bit of a gathering next Monday in Richmond, Virginia. A couple guys, you may not have heard of it. No, there's a huge 2A rally being planned, and the governor's frightened, and that's a good thing. That's not a threat, okay? You random YouTube person who's watching, it's not a threat. There's a famous quote. It may not be true. It may not be truly spoken by the person who's attributed to that, who has attributed it, but it's true nonetheless. When the government fears the people, there is freedom. The governor in Virginia is starting to understand what it is to be a tyrant and to be on the wrong side of a government designed to be of the people, for the people, and by the people. So I saw somebody, SwitchPod, welcome. So excuse me. Anyway, big gathering next Monday in Virginia. I know that we've got a lot of major YouTube personalities who are at SHOT Show and have actually made plans to book extra plane tickets to go to the Virginia rally on Monday. That's awesome of them. We've got people, I say we the 2A community, there's folks who don't go to SHOT Show anyway and are planning to be there, and there's folks who are at SHOT Show and they need to stay committed to SHOT Show, and that's fine. But you guys have heard me talk about, friend of the channel, Four Brothers Incorporated. They make both of the holsters I carry with regularity. In fact, I have just commissioned a new outside the waistband holster for my battle belt. Using a Safariland drop, but I'm going to have a Four Brothers shell. Jason, if you happen to be watching this stream, or if you do watch this stream on a replay, thank you so much. Love your products. And, big part of EDC is having some place to keep everything together. Four Brothers makes Kydex dump trays, or EDC trays, or stuff trays, whatever you want to call them. But he has gotten a Kydex print specifically for the situation in Virginia. You see it on screen right now. And the cool thing about that, and you see if you look down in the description, there's a link to that. Maybe you've already clicked it, and I've already said in the description what I'm getting ready to say. $10 of every Boogaloo tray between now and January 20th, 2020 will go to the Virginia Citizens Defense League to help them fight the fight to protect the Second Amendment and whatever their state statute is, which is more strongly worded. So real quick, get back to the chat. Let's see, there's Switch Pods in here, which said Boomer Gaming Time. Listening to me at work. I strive to be safe for work, but some workplaces don't consider gun talk safe. So anyway, Vanessa Kitty is eating stuffed pork chops. That's cruel. I don't think you got here early enough to hear me say that I skipped supper to finish preparing for this live stream for you, and now you're rubbing it in my face. sad. All right. Boomer Gaming Time here. Switch Pod liking that dump tray, absolutely. And that's not the only dump tray he has, but that one is specifically designed. He's got it going to raise proceeds for what's going on in Virginia. And I have a pocket stuff tray that my kids got made for me. Well, they got like a plain tray and then they painted it up. Got it for Christmas, and I love it. And when it's not buried on the dresser, we're not going to talk about housekeeping. Anyway, so now, if you are thinking about going to Richmond, Virginia on the 20th, and again, I saw JJ was in there. Excuse me. Oh, Vanessa, don't ship me MREs. I like them, but I'll eat the whole thing. And there's, like a whole day's worth of calories if you're not on combat rations. And they also give me terrible gas. And my wife might invoke the till death do us part clause. So I appreciate the offer. But, okay. Anyway, if you're going to Richmond next Monday, the governor, he's doing some illegal stuff. He's scared. Once again, I just mentioned that. And he has declared an emergency gun ban in the Capitol. I was linked to a Vice article about it, actually in 2 or 3 places. I read it. I read part of it, and the stupid burned really badly, and so I didn't read it all. And I was also in the middle of my weightlifting session, and my, it was time for me to hit my next set, and so I did. But anyhow, he's declared an emergency gun ban because, how did he word that? They've gotten intelligence. I question that. They've gotten intelligence that right-wing extremist militias are planning on descending on the city. And so anyway, if you're going, even if you are a legally licensed, I hate that word, the Second Amendment is my license, but regardless, you're breaking the law if you carry in Richmond next Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, I would not ever tell you to break the law. I would challenge you to consider whether a legal writ that violates both a state and federal constitution, whether that is in fact a law. I would remind you that a legal obligation is not the same as a moral obligation. Anyway, Zeke, he's wetting his pants. He is. Once again, where the government fears the people, there's liberty. And I don't remember who's credited with that. And again, I don't know if they actually said it, but the sentiment is true. Trying to roll back through here, my conversation earlier, Elias sent me a link on that earlier, and I'm trying to roll back through our conversation. And basically, Elias is saying, Elias, are you in the chat? You said you'd be in the chat. Haven't seen anything. Has anybody seen Liberty Review? Paging Liberty Review. No, that's okay. Hey, if you haven't caught his introduction and / pilot and his first podcast episode, that's libertyreview1776.com, or you can find him on Spotify, Apple Music, and I think Google Play Music. You should be checking him out. If he's not here, he's busy. He's a busy guy. Anyway, but he's figuring that the Dems are really trying to ensure that there is no rally next Monday. Anyway, and he keeps pushing, and it's going to go beyond rally. And again, I'm reading what Elias sent me earlier. But he was saying he thinks that people are going to show up with firearms regardless, and he thinks it's what they need to remind the government that it's a government by the people. And hopefully the cops are brave enough to withstand the governor, which will send a message like no other. So yeah, if you happen to be a Virginia or a police officer in and around Richmond, Virginia, sheriff's deputy, a state trooper who's been assigned to be in there, you have an obligation to uphold the Constitution. You have the right to discretion. You have a right to refuse to enforce unconstitutional laws. If somebody's not being an idiot, then it's like you make the choice to give a warning instead of a speeding ticket. All right, that's kind of my challenge there. Maybe cooler heads can still prevail. I don't know. I think that the government in Virginia is getting ready to be forcibly removed, or at least attempted. So, Vanessa, stored in vehicles as well. I don't know. I didn't read the emergency resolution. Yeah, Ninja, absolutely right. Not taking the Nazi crap anymore. And guys, I've said before on the live streams that a lot of times when I say leftist or Democrat, I mean statist, but in this case, the Dems have a super majority, and it is the Democrats pushing this stuff. So if you are a pro-gun Democrat, I am not trying to step on your toes, and I know some, but in this case, the contingent that is representing your party is absolutely anti-gun. So at this point, if the Second Amendment is your issue you vote on, you're going to have to vote outside of party. That's all there is to it. And you need to remember that come November. Anyway, yeah, Beretta Man, crap's going to hit the fan, and we're the ones that are going to get the blame. That's the other thing I'm afraid of. Antifa, the violent group that claims that they're against the violent fascist group that says that they're against fascism. Yeah, they've already threatened or mentioned that they're going to send people to go and be violent. And I would not put it past the statist left to plant people to make everybody look bad. Man, that's a risk that we're going to have to take. Because to do otherwise is to just back down and not show our opposition of this. And I'm saying we, guys, I can't be there. Obligations forbid it, and finances forbid travel. It's just I cannot. I'm there in spirit, but definitely heart and soul. Full-fledged, constitutionalist. So, and hopefully it doesn't come down to flipping from don't tread on me to tread on those who tread on you. But okay, good day to call in sick. Yeah, it's what they want. They poke the bear enough, it's gonna maul them. Zeke, you're right. And that's what there's some misunderstanding. I think that we frequently say we're peaceful, and we are peaceful. I don't wake up and say I want violence. I wake up and I say I am prepared to meet violence with violence. I am prepared to stand in the gap in defense of those that I love. But I don't wake up and say, man, I want to put the hurting on somebody today. And the thing is, though, is that there's an important distinction there, and I've mentioned it before on my live streams. If you are incapable of violence, you're not peaceful. you're not peaceful. You are harmless, and that's an important distinction. So when somebody says, "No, I'm a peaceful person," and they truly understand what that means, they follow the path of the warrior poet, to borrow John Lovell's words. That means that they will absolutely screw you up if you infringe, if you try to harm. And I think the governor is going to understand that law-abiding gun owners are not dangerous in and of themselves. And, but once provoked, it could be a bad thing. Rolling down through here real quick. Have removed elected officials by force. Yeah, Zeke. Actually, there was I should have looked this up. There was a city or a county in Tennessee not that long ago, like sometime during the 20th century, that the county governance was so corrupt that the people finally took up arms and forcibly removed that county government, just yanked it out. And again, there's probably some lynching happening. Just, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we tar and feather elected officials in the past for that stuff? Beretta Man, we did. We also found trees and ropes and horses. So, repeat of Charlottesville, if people aren't careful, yeah. And that's what the governor is saying, is that we're not going to have a Charlottesville 2017 incident. And that's why we're not going to allow weapons. But there again, when you do a citywide gun ban, it just works really well. Don't believe me? Ask Chicagoans. Wait. Hang on. Athens, Tennessee. Thank you, Mateo. Thank you. Anything backed into a corner is dangerous. Yeah. And West Virginia, Mark 18, I'm getting to that. You guys are jumping ahead, and that's because you guys all have your finger on the pulse of this, and I'm glad you do. So, before we get to that, though, last week we talked about the House bill in Virginia, because we're staying in Virginia right now. We talked about that House bill that really restricted indoor ranges. And the way I read it was that it was, ranges that were open to the public, because it makes an exception for privately owned ranges that cater primarily to law enforcement, and then other than that, they all have to be in state-owned buildings. And Elias and I had some conversation. The verbiage of the bill is really crap to try to figure out because it's legalese, and then it's crap because it's just crap. The words contained therein are garbage. It's worse than toilet paper that has been used and then put on the table at supper. But anyway, anyhow, we were trying to figure all that out. Elias, when he reread it, was thinking that it was like an attack on law enforcement to make sure that they towed the line. I never really jived with that. But then last Thursday, he sent me a message and said, wait a minute. He had a light bulb moment. I've had those. Neither of us considered the fact that the NRA headquarters is in Virginia. Crap with a nugget crap filling. Yes. Don't. That's bad nougat. Anyway, and it's been easy to forget that the NRA is headquartered in Virginia because they have been deafeningly silent. However, the NRA headquarters employs more than 50 people. The NRA headquarters houses a private indoor shooting range. That bill was a direct shot at the NRA, which the NRA, I've become convinced that it stands for Not Real Activists. But they are a really big organization, and it's funny because right after that bill was announced, they started doing things. And yeah, I feel like it might be a situation like the Japanese found themselves in after they dropped a couple of bombs out in Hawaii back in, the late 30s or, early 40s. Or I'm really embarrassed. I was 38, wasn't it? December 38. Oh my gosh. Now I'm embarrassed. I've got too many other things in my brain right now. All tax revenue would be redirected. Oh, okay. Yeah. Man, you guys are already talking about the next thing. So anyway, that indoor range bill, I'm now convinced, and AmmoLand said the same thing today in AmmoLand News. Once again, highly recommend that you guys get on that mailing list. Lots of good stuff, and sometimes you even see deals in there. Between that and Mr. Guns and Gear's Facebook page, I never have a chance of putting money in the checking account because it's going to gun stuff. Anyway, so maybe that finally mobilized the NRA in this. Now, I'm sure that they're going to stand there and try to barter and bargain. There's a reason that if you look through the description, and I have those links of companies to or organizations to support to help fight for our Second Amendment rights, you don't see the NRA among them. But yeah, 2A, how'd you guys get this? I mean, I haven't even held it up high enough for you guys to see the piece of paper. No, you guys are all really smart. And that's kind of Guns and Gadgets. Thank you, Beretta Man. Thank you, Beretta Man. When I was talking about Indiana Senate Bill 203, Guns and Gadgets is the one that I couldn't think of, and I need to sub to his YouTube channel. So I haven't yet. If you're not, you should be too. So, okay. December 7th, 1941. Thank you, Beretta Man. Yeah. That's right, the war started in 38. Okay. NRA, laugh out loud. Yeah, agree. Mr. Guns and Gear is a great guy. It really seems like it. I'd like to hang out with him. I was really disappointed to find out that he and Tim hung out back in like October or something, and they were less than 2 hours away from me, and I did not get an invitation. Beretta Man, don't read my mind. That people have gone insane for a small fraction of it. Gun stuff is a checking account. Mark 18, there's some truth to that. Between guns, ammunition, and some gold and silver, you have everything you need once there's a societal collapse. Highly developed mind reading habits. Personable, comes to town every so often to the Rock Island auctions. Oh, I can see that. Wait, Rock Island auctions. Have you met Ian? Maybe? Because he's there all the time. All right. Sorry. I'll fanboy out on some of these guys. They seem like really chill dudes, and okay, now I'm officially a little envious. Yeah, okay. All right. And finally, and you guys have been talking all over about this. Excuse me. Yeah, he went in and bought all of the 7mm French, didn't he? Anyway, so you guys have been talking about it. West Virginia, excuse me, I've got that little dry spot right in the back of my throat. Love being sick, don't recommend it. 10 out of 10, don't want it. Anyway, West Virginia has offered, they've got a standing offer. It's actually been worded as a bill in their house to allow the Second Amendment sanctuary counties from Virginia to join West Virginia. And that I don't know how that'd work. My mind is boggled at that, and I think that might be the most brilliant and peaceable way to deal with this. And it's worded not just the sanctuary counties, sanctuary cities as well. So like Virginia Beach, because I think that because Virginia Beach, the city, separately ratified a Second Amendment sanctuary ordinance. So, you know, I I don't know how that would work, because I don't know if maybe their county did it. And so once again, obviously, I try to absorb as much of this as I can in and amongst actually doing enough stuff at work that they don't tell me that I don't work there anymore. So yeah, and yes, Mark 18, that'd be a battle won without firing a shot, and it would send that same message that we the people will not put up with this tyrannical crap. We'll leave. We will stay on our property and leave. Now, Elias, once again, because he's a smart fella. So, still back in the conversation talking about if you're going, if you do go to, sorry, I'm going to backtrack. If you do go to Richmond next Monday and you decide that you're going to put your foot down and you are in fact going to carry, be as non-confrontational as you can, okay? And just plan to be arrested, I guess. Says the governor. He sent me a link showing that the governor doesn't actually have the authority to pull that gun ban, but the General Assembly would have to stand against him on it. And since the General Assembly is blue, I don't foresee that. And again, the response of the governed should have just told the elected officials who believe that they're people with power that it's not wanted and to stop instead of digging their heels in. Virginia Civil Defense League looking into legal options on this. So once again, go follow the link in my description and get you a Boogaloo tray, and get you a cool tray. They're $35. So basically, you're paying $25 for the tray and sending $10 to the Virginia Civil Defense League. And I live close enough. I go drive and pick my stuff up. So you might have to work out shipping and stuff on that. I don't know how Jason handles that. Jason is great people, and thoroughly have enjoyed doing business with them. Again, you have seen plenty of draws from Four Brother Holsters, quality stuff. Backtracking. Anyway, scrolling through. I could have sworn he said something about the I was in the wrong part of the chat. The courts would go nuts. And the thing is he pointed out how federalist our country has become. The central government, the national government is so much stronger than what was ever intended. It's ridiculous. And that cessation is a big part of what led to the Civil War, obviously. And he's guessing that since they've determined that a state can't cede from the Union, the federal government's probably also going to come in and say that counties can't cede from a state. We will have to see. Virginia and West Virginia separated a long time ago over political differences. A state would have to vote on it. But if it's a county seating, the state's vote, because obviously the state's going to vote against it. So I don't. Taco. Oh, hey, welcome. That's a name I haven't seen. And he's saying that his family spilled blood all from the Revolutionary War clear up through the Civil War. So, oh no, brother, I hope your family doesn't have to spill any more blood on American soil for the sake of liberty. But we'll see. Yes, 2A, public servants. That's right. They have lost sight of that. We've talked about that before. Excuse me. Yeah. Well, and they're realizing that. They're realizing that if they want a war they'll have. And once again, I prefer peace. But if trouble must come, let it come in my day, that my children might know peace. I'm still relatively able-bodied, and I'm still training to be that defender, whether it's directly a defender of my family in the day-to-day, or if it's a defender of my family in the long run. And I know, I'm confident in what happens after I close my eyes on this earth. So, ain't scared. Anyway, Northerners' arrogance is infuriating as well as the rest. Oh, Northam. I thought you said Northerners' arrogance is infuriating. I'm sorry, dude. I did live in Tennessee for a while. I was an honorary Southerner, but that's not what you said. Very thankful, not a Commonwealth resident. Yeah, right now I am too. And the thing is, I've been to Virginia, and it's a beautiful country. It's such a shame. Anyhow, okay. So, caught up on that, and I've talked about everything I intended to talk about in Virginia. So now, we're going to move on to something else where we've got people trying to get ahead of this garbage, and that is up in Monroe County in Michigan. Next Tuesday has a city council meeting, and I could try to tell you, but we have in chat 2AEDU, and a couple of days ago he released an interview where he was talking with Councilman Greg Moore Jr. It's Monroe County. Can't read my own chicken scratch. Greg Moore Jr., who is introducing this resolution at the city council meeting here on Tuesday. So instead of me trying to explain it, I have done 2A. I did some, it was just the interview was 20 minutes long. So I took some liberties with some editing, and I'm gonna switch away to a little 3-minute clip here of 2AEDU's interview with Councilman Greg Moore Jr.
I'd like to introduce all you guys to Greg Moore Jr.
Hey guys, how you doing?
He's the Monroe County Commissioner representing the 8th District here in Monroe County. And we're going to let you guys know about some exciting news here. Something that Greg has planned that's going to be introduced here at a meeting in Monroe County on the 21st. So what's your resolution, Greg?
Sure. So thanks for having me, first of all. Love your channel on YouTube. I'm unabashedly pro-Second Amendment, concealed carry for 15 years, hunting, right to defend themselves, the whole thing. So everything you talk about online, I really like, and I appreciate you doing that because more people need to know about that.
Awesome.
So I've kind of been watching what's been going on, not only in Virginia, but even nationally, Colorado, California. There's been a real specific attack on the Second Amendment right, which is obviously the right to bear arms, which shall not be infringed, right?
Yeah.
And I was looking at that over the last 3 or 4 weeks, and I had some talks with some other commissioners. I said, what do you think about doing a resolution which just is public support of the Second Amendment, both at the federal U.S. Constitution, and then also the state of Michigan Constitution, which the Michigan Constitution is even broader than the U.S. Constitution, and that was ratified in, I think, 1962. So just a mere 50 years ago, we had this belief and this thought that every citizen should have the right to bear arms, the right to self-defense. And we talked about it for a day or two, said, yep, let's do something in the future on that. Well, a few days later, I made a post on my Facebook page, both my commissioner page and my personal page, and just said, hey, I have the intent to introduce something on the 21st that'll be a resolution that just simply states the support for the Second Amendment by all the county commissioners and local elected officials. Well, that thing went crazy. A million views. I had national news media calling me, local news media, and
awesome.
I didn't think it was going to be that divisive. I mean, look, I'm a local elected official. I put my hand on the Bible and swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, both the United States Constitution and the Michigan Constitution. So a resolution that merely states, hey, I support part of that document. Didn't seem like that big of a deal to me. So I was a little surprised by how much attention it got. If we did do something like this, we'd be the first county in Michigan to do it, which I'm surprised by that as well.
I am too.
The fact that we would have to do that we have to publicly say we support one of the Bill of Rights as an elected official blows my mind. But that's kind of where we got to. So people in Lansing picked it up, locally, nationally picked it up, and then you reached out to me, and that's where we are today. I plan on introducing it on the 21st at our regular board meeting for the county commissioners in Monroe County.
So here's the deal, and here's what I'm really excited about, guys. Here on the 21st of January, 2020, he's bringing this resolution to the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. He's going to put his money where his mouth is. Look, we elected him in office, you guys elected him into office, as well as the rest of your commissioners. But he's actually going to make a motion to put this on the floor, if you will, for discussion and for vote. I need to see all you guys at this meeting on the 21st. You're going to have time to speak, right?
Correct.
To be able to.
Man, now I'm back. Sorry, you got to look at me now. But anyway, appreciate 2A EDU for what you're doing with getting that information out. We appreciate all of our elected officials, like Commissioner Moore. Thank you, brain fart. And yeah, in the chat there, 2A EDU pointed out it's a county council meeting, not city. It's a sanctuary county. So anyway, awesome stuff, and it's a great idea to go ahead and get ahead of this with the climate the way it is. And in fact, Gun Owners of America has created a little kit for us to start this process in our own counties. So right there in the link in the chat, you can do that. And yeah, a great idea. It's always easier to shore up the levees ahead of time than it is to be slinging sandbags during the flood. And we see it on the radar almost every state. Okay, I haven't had time to go through every state's legislation. When I see stuff come across the radar, I bring it to you here in these Wednesday meetings. But almost every state has some sort of gun ban or restrictions or red flag laws in this legislative session. So you need to be going to your own state's legislative sessions. They'll have all the bills out, and usually they have like a little short description. You click on it and it'll usually have a digest, and then you can get the full verbiage of the bill. And then reach out to your representatives, reach out to your senators, and let them know that you're, I don't know, I'm going to guess, we tend to be like-minded. I've talked to a lot of you guys in Discord and in text messages and emails and phone calls, and so I'm confident that if you're watching this right now live, you're a like-minded individual. And as such, I'm confident in saying that most of you guys and gals are single-issue voters. And because quite frankly, what a politician believes about the Second Amendment tells me everything I need to know about what they believe about the Bill of Rights. And that tells me everything I need to know about what they believe about the Constitution. I have 3 or 4 other issues that I like to look at, but I will always vote yay or nay, starting with the Second Amendment. And I'm confident that most of you vote the same way. Yeah, get to know your elected officials helps. Yeah. Good. There you go. So they're related to you and you can leak dirt. Okay. Is what if that's what you want to do. And guys, I'm slipping a little bit. Let me back up here and do a couple clicks, and right there it is. So if you didn't watch 2A's whole video, that, like I said, the interview section of that alone was about a 20-minute interview. Well worth the watch. I trimmed it down to get you the nitty-gritty of it. So in the chat right there, you have the link to his whole video. Well worth the watch, whether you're in Michigan or not. If you're close enough to Monroe County to get there on Tuesday, you should absolutely go make your voice heard. If you're from a state that's got some garbage laws, maybe you're from the Chicagoland area, good old Chirac, and you can get to Monroe County, maybe you can go in there and just explain to those folks what you see as a result of draconian gun control laws that don't ever affect the criminals who are already breaking the law. They don't care. And so, but it sounds like most of that county council is in support of this, so that's an awesome thing. Hopefully it goes that way. It needs to go that way. So yeah. All right. Well, guys, we are just a little over an hour here, and I have gotten through my whole outline. So yeah, oh, you're very welcome, 2A. You're absolutely right. And you and I have talked before, guys. You've got to try to keep your own home in order. Okay, I'm going to keep talking about Virginia. Guys like 2A EDU, guys like, in spite of a difference of opinion on new YouTube rules, guys like Eric at Iraq Veteran, guys like Tim at Military Arms Channel, and there's tons of others. We're going to keep talking about Virginia because this is like kind of a worst case scenario. And I think it's, stuff has gone slowly over out in like California, and we see that, and it's asinine. And then they're trying to dump all of this at once on Virginia, and yeah, it just shows how quickly things can switch. So we need to all strive to keep our own home in order. So we're going to keep talking about Virginia as things develop in Virginia until that's resolved one way or another. But as I see laws being talked about, being offered up in Michigan and in Ohio and in Kentucky, all of which have stuff on the books, just like stuff like Indiana Senate Bill 203, I'm going to mention it so that we can all strive to keep our own house in order, so that we can then help each other with each other's stuff. So yeah, absolutely 2A. It's my pleasure to mention things such as that. I appreciate the work you're doing. Yeah, lots of places. Here's the thing: if the Second Amendment in Virginia falls, guaranteed they are the first of many. So we need to do everything we can in whatever way we can to be supporting Virginia directly, to be helping the Virginia Civil Defense League, to be supporting like Firearms Policy Coalition and Second Amendment Foundation and Gun Owners of America, who are pouring into that. I know a lot of you guys, for various sundry reasons, are still NRA members. Hopefully they can use your monies for good now instead of Mr. LaPierre getting another suit. Maybe this will wake them up. Maybe this will shake them to their core, because they need shaken. And I'm not faulting anybody who's an NRA member. Actually, last year I had intended to go down to NRAM Indy, just because it's a huge gun show too, and that would have required me signing up for an NRA membership, and that was before I really got looking into anything. I grew up reading American Rifleman. So much of my love for firearms came from the pages of that magazine. So, but the nice thing is, being a USCCA member, I do now get concealed carry. So pretty cool magazine, and USCCA going to help gun rights too and help defend you if the worst were to happen. So yeah, there's a lot of really great really great organizations out there that we can be supporting, so we should be doing so. Anyway, rolling through. If there's anything else you guys are wanting to talk about, go ahead and shout it out here in the chat. It's past my bedtime, but I will stay up. I really like hanging out with you guys. So, yeah, Zeke, we do. The mainstream media, that's the other thing, is like the number of gun guys that I say, like, man, how about what's going on in Virginia? And they're like, what's going on in Virginia? Is astounding. Military people, like super pro 2A people, like legit pro 2, not I'm pro 2A, but no, like real pro 2A people, and they haven't heard about any of this. The mainstream, because this is, once again, the mainstream media no longer has a responsibility to report the truth, and as such, they just do what they can to help dictate public opinion. So, going through here, okay. Overstep or a glimpse into the future, that's the question, yeah. Hold the line, absolutely. News channels are not about real news, they're about ratings. Absolutely right, Beretta Man, which is why, and we talked about this last week, you have a 16% times higher chance of being struck by lightning in a year than being the victim of an active shooter. And I have not seen the media cover a lightning strike victim in... My local media did when I was in middle school, because a kid like me, he'd been amputated and he needed prosthetics because he was struck by lightning. But that was local. I don't think I've seen a lightning strike covered, but they cover every mass shooting that there is. And yeah, it's an egregious thing, but it's not a common thing. Yet, if you pay attention to the mainstream media, you would think it was, because it's an egregious thing, and it generates clicks, it generates attention. So yeah, they're all about the ratings. Boomer, I'm glad it woke you up. I think that there was a bit of a wake up, even for those of us who considered ourselves to be like woke, if you will. I'm incredulous that it's actually happening. I'm not gonna lie. So yep, Mateo, similar stuff being proposed in Kentucky. And Mateo, if you're not following regular guy training, I've talked about him. Chris is a Kentucky guy too. I mean, he's a transplant, but he's there in Kentucky, and a lot of his classes are held. There's like a lot of them are in Adairville, which is probably where I'll end up going. It's about a 6-hour trip, and it's one of the closest locales in his regular classes. So if you're interested in taking any classes with him, I know that you've served, and I'm not, I don't know, but maybe you think that there's some skills that need the rust knocked off. That's up to you, man. But at least follow his YouTube channel. Anyway, gorgeous range less than a mile from me that requires an NRA member. You know what's funny, Zeke, is that the range I'm a member of, and we have our annual range members meeting this Sunday, they have a thing on the application. They have a line for your NRA member number, and I just left it blank, and they still voted me in, so I don't know. But a lot of ranges do, and I think that there's something with range holder or range owners property insurance. I think it's what I've heard. So, and I don't fault anybody who has an NRA membership. It's just not, it's something that I had never done, and as of right now, my money can be better spent on any number of things. Training classes, guns for myself, other memberships, whatever. So anyway, Bloomberg is spending money everywhere, and he's got the money to spend. UN Agenda 30. Whoa, chat jumped. Oh, Beretta Man, have that magazine. Yeah, I really... They give you the option of digital, and I read a lot of books and things on digital, but there's something about a paper magazine or a physical magazine, and I'm not gonna lie, so much of my love for the Second Amendment came from thumbing through the pages of American Rifleman. I now have magazines that I can have sitting out for my children to look through and to make their own choice. So there it is. I know my mayor was one of his mayors. Okay. Right, it's only just begun. Mark 18, that's what I'm afraid of. But again, it's our responsibility. The founder said, this is your government if you can keep it. Excuse me. Always vigilant. Nothing worse than being stabbed in the back by a friend. Yeah. And if you want to sound, educated, you can say that as semper vigilantes. Always vigilant. Sorry. Of course, if you're a Marine, you're going to say semper fidelis. So, actually, you're going to say semper fi. But whatever. Don't say lightning. Beretta Man, sorry. Exploding water heaters on the news, then lightning strikes. Yeah, and I'd kind of like to see the odds on those too. Mateo, you know Chris. Okay. Florida's no joke. People get hit by lightning. Oh, yeah, lightning in Florida. I thought we were talking about gun rights in Florida, which those are going away too, but okay, if you're drunk loading your AR mags, just like triple check that you're not putting 300 into a 5.56 mag. NRA can't be trusted. Warsaw Patriot, welcome, and I don't disagree. Offers insurance. It's the reason they require the membership. Yeah. West Virginia, you're going to gobble up parts of Kentucky too. But the worst things I've heard about West Virginia are their interstate laws from people driving through. So, paid snitch program. Paid snitches. Yeah, absolutely. If you see something, say something. We are rapidly turning into the Soviet Union. Like the things I'm reading about, the things that they're trying to implement are the very things that terrified me in elementary school after the wall fell and we started getting, elementary school, middle school, and we started getting Soviets immigrating in and talking about the horrors they had seen. So, yep, there you go. Zeke said it, like the commies did. Navy is better. Here, I'll start a fight. Well, you know that the Marines are paid by the Navy. Anyhow, part of the original. If they could have gotten the... right. Navy is the father that created the Marine Corps. Yeah, you're right. Got to be Army strong. So, hey, and hold up. I've got to switch back over to Chrome here. 1 second. Sorry guys, the internet is a little slow. It's like somebody's streaming or something. Brent Wan, speaking of Marines, you reached out to me on Facebook. I don't know if you're in here, if you see this live stream, if you're gonna see this live stream, but hey, thank you for reaching out to me on Facebook. And I appreciate your service, brother. And I have friends in all branches, friends and or family in all branches of the military, and I'm a huge military enthusiast. So I should have served. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I'm letting you carry my weight. I'm doing what I can to be an actively involved civilian now, and I'm prepared to stand in the gap if it comes to it. So. I don't know if that counts for anything, but I feel like you're all brothers, and so if you hear me talking crap, I'm sorry. I get used to joking around with my friends, and having friends in the same room from multiple branches, I hear the crap they talk, and I pick it up. So anyway, speaking though of social media, if you're not following the channel, and everybody I've seen in the chat you are, but hit us up over there on Facebook and or Instagram. I like to hear from you guys, and it just gives us one more way to stay in touch. If you're thinking, hey, this guy's okay, I'd like to help him out, you can help the channel by supporting us over on Patreon. Not anything that obviously that you require, but I appreciate my supporters. You guys are awesome. And you guys all know shooting guns is an expensive addiction. So thank you. Thank you so much. Oh no, we've started. Oh no. What did we start in the chat here? We've got the we've got the military branch wars going on. Notice some buffering on my end. A lot of ice on the lines, could be weather related. Oh, it could be at my end. I do have a fixed wireless internet provider, and they've been really awesome. But every now and again, that bandwidth, does things. So why do they? Siege. All right, we're gonna stop. I should have a picture. One of our graduates last year, like 3 days after graduation, was headed off to boot camp, and so for his graduation gift, and I gave him, I gave him some money, but I made him some Marine Corps Fun Dip. I've got a picture of it, and I should put it up on Instagram, and I might do that. It was a 64-pack box of crayons with a little paste pot stuck to the side, and it was, and I actually had I printed out some Marine Corps Digicam, and he loved it. He said, I got a computer as a graduation gift, and this is my favorite graduation gift. So, Chris, if you were watching the stream, love you, brother. Thank you for your service. Everybody in the chat, if you served, I appreciate your service. Love you guys, and so. Don't be ashamed by not serving the globalist agenda. No. Okay, I have to say I'm not happy with the fact that we're being, America World Police. But yeah, I still feel like that was something I should have done. I've always felt very strongly about it. So actually almost even joined a couple of different police departments just because to protect and serve. But right now, with some of the laws that are coming down the pipe and being proposed, I'm just as glad that I never joined a police department, because then I would be stuck in a moral quandary. It's bad enough every morning saying I have to go to a soft target location and be unarmed with some 750 or 800 people that I care about their future. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. All right. Unscrew the top thread. Oh, no. No. All right. Anything besides branch bashing over in the chat before we sign off, guys? Anything Virginia related that is super pressing that I missed, shout it out, and I'll make sure to shout it out. And guys, feel free. My ear is ringing. Nice. Feel free, those of you guys who are content creators, you can even just say me, and then you guys can, click the username and go to channel, and or drop your channel name if you have a different channel that you create under that you would like to drive people to. Feel free to shout out your own channel here in these last few moments. Yeah, Mark 18. I'm not trying to start any kind of blue bashing either. I've said it before, guys. The law enforcement people who are local to me. Number one, I live out in a rural area, so my law enforcement are the sheriffs and sheriff's deputies. Everybody, though, that I've personally interacted with, they are True Blue 2A, which actually True Blue doesn't work for that. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. And the thing is that until such time as an individual officer is infringing rights, I support the police. So I don't want to go down that path. That's my personal opinion. I'm one of those guys that they say can't. You would have been in support of the British. Back the blue, thin blue. Okay, if you've had bad experiences, if you live places where you're dealing with a lot of infringement, and it's being enforced by the police. I sympathize with your plight. That has not been my experience, so that's where we're going to leave that. So, like whining girl. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, shout out your channels in the chat if you want to. Of course, I've shared 2A EDU's videos, so obviously you guys know he's a content creator. Sorry, really dry throat. But yeah, we've all got to synergize. We all bring a little bit something different with our channels. So feel free. I don't have the most subscribers. In fact, I'm probably one of the smallest channels represented by everybody here. So where live streams. Yeah, oh yeah, Zeke, I did see you live stream on Tuesdays at 9 Central, correct? I think that's what I saw. And so typically I don't stay up as late as I am right now because I do get up, okay, it's not as early as some people, but get up at 05:30 to get ready and get there. And so for morning weight supervision, and I do my own 3-mile run in the morning. So, you know, I'll get on your stream when I can, but there you guys go. Anyway, so got to support each other. I really believe that all of this infighting in the 2A community is going to make the anti-gunners' job so much easier. So anyway, I know 2A EDU has a live stream on Fridays at 9 Eastern. So a lot of good conversation in the chat there. Speaking of subscribers, guys, I am rapidly coming up on 200. And I promised a long time ago that at 250, I was calling that the first major milestone on the way to monetization. I didn't believe then that I would actually be approved for monetization, or if I am, most of my videos won't be. I still don't believe that, but it's still my goal. So anyway, 250 is my first major milestone, and I've decided on my giveaway. I have some of the keychain lights. I've got some EDC style O lights that will be my first giveaway. So when we hit 250 subs on the channel, we'll do a giveaway. I've got a few of those on hand. I actually already know what I'm doing for my 500 sub giveaway, but I don't know how long away that will be. I'm excited about that one, but I'm gonna leave that as a teaser. So anyhow, build videos. Welcome to come in and talk shop. We the people need to stand together, absolutely. So guys, thanks so much for joining. Remember to follow the channel on social media. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter, I would really appreciate that. One day, my goals for the channel, okay, I've got big lofty goals, and I'd like to tell you what they are, but I don't want that to be viewed as a promise, because it's not something that I can promise, but it will require the channel to become self-sufficient. So so thank you to those of you who do so. I know that money's hard to come by. I get that. You work hard for it, so you'll do what you will. Guys, head over and take a look at Four Brothers Holsters if you're looking for quality EDC gear. He's got it, and he has things. He's still building his website, so there's things like if you click in one area you might not see it, but if you click in another area you might. So and he doesn't have all of his products uploaded yet. It is it started as a side business for him, and I'm not sure what how he's transitioning to that being a primary, but I know he's constantly got a lot of orders. When I texted him and commissioned my my range holster or my battle belt holster, he's you're on the list. So he's been really busy. So anyway, make sure. Thank you, Beretta Man. I appreciate the encouragement. Thanks, Zeke. Guys, thanks so much for joining. We're going to sign off here. Until next time, shoot straight, stay safe.